The worst movies of 2024, let's get into it. According to me and my spreadsheet. Just to recap, I saw 200 movies in 2024, 176 in theaters, the rest streaming. I recapped the best movies I saw. Now let's talk about the worst. Again, this is my own personal rating system, so if I call out your favorite movie, it's okay. I'll still sleep at night. These are 18 of the worst movies I saw this year, and I had a little fun with it. Let's get into it. Bring on the, oh my god, you're such a hater. This group is what I call the Tyler Perry fail. We have Mea Culpa over here, which was his take on an erotic thriller. You have Divorce in the Black, which was just, I think, the worst thing he's ever done. And then you have the Tyler Perry parody, which was one of two movies that put me to sleep. Name everything that Tyler Perry does wrong, and he did it at least twice in both of these movies. I call this group nasty for no reason. First and foremost, this movie, Drive Away Dolls, is about dildos. Do you remember those teen party movies from the 90s like Can't Hardly Wait with Jennifer Love Hewitt? That's what Incoming was trying to be, but it was just nasty. Belinda! The Front Room starring Brandy Nelson. There was enough pee and poop in this movie to call it a fetish. Unnecessary. I call this group great idea, poor execution. The American Society of Magical Negroes, which is about the magical Negro trope. Yes, that's a thing. So think like The Legend of Bagger Vance or Bruce Almighty, Gone with the Wind. You have a supporting black character whose job is to kind of aid and support the white protagonist. That's the magical Negro trope. And that's what this movie was supposed to be satirizing, but it just failed. Imaginary was a horror movie about, an evil imaginary friend. Great idea, poor execution. The movie was just bad. Same thing here. So this is about, tarot cards coming to life. It was just a poorly executed film, poor character development. It was too short for its own good. It didn't utilize the time very well. That's the best I can say about it. Aesthetically, it was interesting though. I will give it that. I call this category waste of my time. So Afraid was about like an evil AI system. They were kind of sort of trying to do what Megan did. Megan being kind of like a black comedy horror satire, minus the comedy part. They weren't trying to be funny. They were trying to be scary, but they failed at that. Borderlands was the other movie that put me to sleep. The Fabulous Four, this thing was just terrible. I almost fell asleep, but didn't. They're trying to bring back, the female buddy comedy, the older female buddy comedy, which had good success in like the 90s and going into the early 2000s. This was just poorly written, poorly directed. You have some incredible actresses in here with a director that didn't know what to do with them. I call this category, nobody asked for this. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, a remake of the 90s cult classic. It was unnecessary. Nobody asked for this. This was not needed. It did not improve upon the original. The original, if you just look at it as quality, it's just okay. It's not even that great, but it's fun. It's a cult classic. Nobody needed this. The director, when talking about the Book of Clarence, talked about, wanting to create a Christian-ish film for Black audiences. This was not it. Not good. No, this was disrespectful on so many levels. Sony refuses to let go of Spider-Man. Honestly, I think it's time. Just give it back to Disney and let them mess it up. But yeah, Madam Web, this thing was just bad. Bless its little heart. Last but not least, I call this here for the plot. I've said this before. There are two things for which I can forgive a bad movie, and that's carnage and eye candy. And you know what? Hallelujah. Now, Kraven the Hunter is the exception because I feel like they failed on the carnage a little bit. And why was he only shirtless 2.5 times? That's not what I came for. I came for the plot. I find it amazing that Bill Skarsgård is in one of the worst and also one of the best movies of 2024. And then he had this Boy Kills World in the middle. So we all know why The Crow was bad. This could also be, nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for a remake of The Crow. It was not necessary. I didn't hate the movie. Yeah, it's bad. It's fun trash for me. If the entire movie was like the last quarter of the movie, I felt like the movie itself would have been great. I loved that last little bit because it was carnagey. He was shirtless. He was fine. Slicing and dicing people and just looking like something out of my nightmares. Boy Kills World was another one that was like great idea, poor execution. I believe this was a directorial debut, if I remember correctly. But the problem with this movie, it was just very, very thin. It was plot weak, but it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. And honestly, I only needed this movie to do one thing. And did. Look I'm just a girl. I'm here for the plot.